Hey y'all, JD Hurst here with the Bookly Blessed podcast once again. I just wanted to talk to y'all about um, these scam artists that are out there preying on us. Um, I don't know how many other authors are um, facing this issue. I think it's probably most um, from independent publishers that are coming after us and offering us fame and stardom for the low, low price of $1,500 starting out to my most recent and unpleasant uh, situation just yesterday. I think most of you are probably tracking that I have my greatest blessing going out to vendor markets and festivals and fairs and meeting all the readers that like to read my books. It's just a real sweet situation for me personally. And then that's where I get my book sales from. So I'm always on the lookout for a new festival or fair, preferably in my area. I'm currently connected with someone up in Canada who needed some help um, getting a uh, author conference going. Had the idea and the drive and the passion to do it, but no experience with event planning. And those of you who know me know that I have many, many years of event planning experience. Starting out when I was 5 years old, um, I was always the one, you know, trying to make the dinner table look nice when we were having guests come over, all the way up to professional event planning for the highest echelons of the United States military and government. So um, that's how I connected with the lady in Canada. However, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not the scam that I'm talking about. Yesterday, I was speaking with someone I thought was connected to a vendor market up in the Fort Worth area, which is over a 2 hour drive for me. And I had commented on Facebook on this flyer for the event, asking, is there any indoor sites available? Because right now, in the Texas heat, um, this, you know, almost middle aged woman is melting in the Texas heat. I do not do well in the summers anymore, which is quite embarrassing for me because for a large chunk of my childhood, I was raised here. And I spent my teenage years running around, literally like racing people in boots and jeans in 100-degree plus temperatures. And so it's embarrassing for me that I can't handle the heat now. I've had some heat injuries, so I think that's playing into it. And that leads me to trying to find indoor events. May, June, July, August, and even September in this area. So I commented publicly, which was my bad. Is there any indoor sites available? Well, then I saw that the person who had posted the flyer requested that we message them personally. And so as I was messaging that person who posted the flyer on Facebook, um, someone else came in and messaged me, and I said, "Oh goodness, that was quick. Thank you for your very swift response. I was just messaging the organizer of the event. You must be working with them." And this person played along really well. Uh, but right away, red flag warning. My first red flag warning, and I'm going to list red flag warnings for y'all if this is something that you yourself are starting to do. Even if you're not an author, but you do go around to vendor markets. I've got some folks who are following my author page, or I spend time talking with at these events that aren't authors. I'm usually the only one at these events. Um, but I just want to go over these things because it's so frustrating for me that we're constantly preyed upon. The people who are doing these vendor events are usually out there trying to supplement their primary income or trying to make a living doing this. Uh, and so the vendors at these markets is what I'm talking about. And so for these scam artists, I, predators is what I call them, to go out and try and target these people. It makes me so upset and angry. I just wish there was something that we could all do to protect ourselves and to defend our friends, our vendor friends, the people that we love and care about. And I wish there was something that we could do. You try and report these people to the social media sites, and they're like, "Great, thanks, cool, whatever." I've even tried reporting to the police before, and the police are like, "What would you like me to do?" uh, so, long story. Let's get back to the red flag warnings before I get into the weeds too deep. Um, so the first red flag warning that this other person, um, you know, gave me within seconds of um, contacting me, she said, "Yes, we have indoor sites available if you're ready to sign up right now." And I immediately just was like, "Well, don't you think I would be ready to sign up right now if I'm commenting and contacting people about this?" And so I continued on in the conversation already with my hackles up, my back up against the wall, like, I don't like this. And eventually she got to the point where, I mean, she was good. She gave me different sizes of booths available and all with different prices, of course. And I'm thinking, well, that was not indicated in the flyer that I saw on the Facebook advertisement. So there's your second red flag warning. Why is there different sizes and they're all different prices than what was listed on the flyer? And then finally she sends me the vendor application. And I start reading this vendor application. And this is across the board. You don't even have to be a vendor trying to go up to a vendor market. This can be like an email that someone sends you. This can be, we'll get to the telemarketing phone calls in a minute. But when something is written poorly in in the language that it's written in, even my experience is in English. I don't know about other languages, but when something is written in poor English with improper punctuation or lack of punctuation, the improper words in the wrong spot, the it doesn't even make sense for that word to be in that part of the sentence, or even in my case, the vendor application. Why is this word in this application? It makes no sense. It has nothing to do with this event, you know. And there's my final red flag warning. And I came back to her and I said, "Ma'am, have you read this application? It is written very poorly, and uh, I mentioned all those things that just set me off: poor punctuation, poor spelling, improper formatting of the sentences." I said, "These are all red flag warnings for me." And she'd been talking actively to me this whole time. And even as I was starting to back out of the conversation, she kept talking. And when I said all these things to her, um, meantime, while I'm in this conversation with this woman, the original organizer of the event responded to the message that I had sent him. And her response was, "Okay." And I asked questions in my response to her sending me this vendor application. So, you know, I report her, I block her, I'm out, I'm done, I'm not playing. And of course, she did not get a single dime from me. She was asking for, I think, a minimum of $50, which is, for me, I don't like to spend more than I don't like to spend more than 40 for a vendor site because I can only do one day. Um, y'all might be a little bit familiar with. I have my service connected pain issues I've often said thank you, U.S. Army. That's I got a bad back, y'all. I can't do multiple days standing on my feet, and I often have to rest during my one day. 4 to 6 hours or whatever it may be. And so anyway, let's not talk about that. That's boring. So anyway, the original organizer has now messaged me back, and I let him know, oh yeah, I was just talking to your co-person or whatever, Jennifer Smith. And he was like, who's that? And I was like, ah, exactly, that's what I was thinking. And then he went back and saw where I had mentioned, um you know commented on his post. And then he goes, oh yeah, I see where she liked your comment. I said, yeah, she took your flyer and made her own make believe event out of it, and is trying to get money from people. And he said, yeah, I reported her too. And I said, okay, cool. And then I and then I went and looked at his profile, because I've had this happen so many times. It's now my knee-jerk reaction to go and look at someone's profile when they start talking to me on social media. And I highly recommend you do the same if you're going to try and find opportunities, or if you're in a position where you're about to spend some money on something that you find on social media, or they find you on social media. Please go look at their profile. Well, I look at this guy's profile too, and I'm like, there's two pictures, and he hasn't been a part of social media very long, and there's no other posts, no information. Now, for me, my own personal social media sites are locked down really tight, and that's still left over from my military time. They teach us to safeguard ourselves online as best we can. And so, I you have to be my friend on social media to see all my stuff. But it's not gonna say no information to show. It's gonna say you have to be friends to see this information. So that that's where, oh, maybe this is actually a fake event that I'm about to. I wasn't. I was already done. Even talking to the original guy who said, yeah, she's a scam, whatever. Um, but other people might be out there in the same boat as me, or even the kind where these vendor markets are how they make their living, how they feed their children, how they clothe and house their children. Um, they're about to go sign up for this, and all the signs are pointing to this being a fake event. And when I looked at this vendor application, and it said this fee is non-refundable no matter what. If the event doesn't happen, you're not getting your money back. Well, that's beyond red flag warning. That's black flag warning. That's like, don't go here, don't do this. Um, so all that being said, I would just like to encourage anyone listening to this, just please be careful. Going back to how I was talking about how it makes me so angry with the telemarketer calls, they target seniors who live on a fixed income because they feel like people who are no longer in the mainstream and might not spend as much time on social media as the you know the millennial and younger generations. um, it's very frustrating to me because they just assume that the older generations are gullible and naive and um, easy targets. And then, along with the seniors, they target stay at home folks, or um, self employed folks. Uh, you know, and I I fall into those two categories: the stay at home and the self employed. I mean, if they say, if you love what you do for a living, you never work a day in your life. Well, I write books and I love it, and I'm not going to say I'm paying that many bills with it. I might be creating more bills than I'm paying, but it's considered self-employment, so we'll go with that. um, but I get those scam telemarketer calls all the time, and the ones that make me the angriest. Hello, this is the Texas Police Officers Fund Relief Fund or whatever, and or the firefighters or and so now my standard response has become shame on you. Shame on you. How dare you, use such a noble cause, number one, to line your own pockets because you're not giving that money to those organizations that actually, well, I mean, they rename them just so subtly that you can't tell that they're not real. And then if you're a business owner and you're getting these scam calls, my my best one that I love, it makes me laugh, is, oh yeah, thank you for calling. I appreciate you taking the time. How many books would you like to order? And they stumble and stutter. No, 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 you pay me. Oh no, 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 no. That's not how this works. So you would like 1,000 of each of my books? Okay, I just need your credit card number. Click, you know. And I'm like, exactly. Block the number. So, I would encourage you to get creative, but please also keep in mind that the person on the other end of the line, even though they are working for a scammer or they are a scammer themselves, they're still a human being. Um, some people that I know um, are very, very vicious and cruel when they are making a scammer go away. And uh, some of the people that are on the other end of the line are just trying to also feed their children and clothe their children. So um, have a sense of humor, but get rid of them. Don't fall for it. If someone is calling you, asking you for money, chances are they're not legit. Um, that's the bottom line. I've even gotten calls from some tax relief agency and saying that they have seen that I have back taxes. No, I don't, because I pay my taxes, obviously. And I know for a fact that I am not in arrears anywhere because I stay on top of all that stuff. My husband is very good about staying on top of all that. And the IRS does not make, phone calls like that. So, and they never identify themselves as IRS. Just things like that. Hospital billing or whatever. They generally don't make the phone calls. In my experience, I get a letter in the mail and then I call the place that I know that I have been to and I say, is this real? I would say it's probably about 60-40. About 40% of the time, it's scams, So safeguard yourself. Be careful. Check things. Don't just automatically go, I'm going to go to jail if I don't pay the Social Security Administration this amount of money. Well, you've already paid into them if you have a job in the United States of America. Um, they're not going to come asking for more money from you. That they shouldn't. Again, I'm not a tax accountant or tax attorney, so I'm just trying to encourage you with kind of examples that I'm pulling out of the air. I'm not an official, so I don't work for the United States government anymore. And I just want to encourage y'all to be careful, especially when you're moving around on social media. Um, Even when you're on Facebook Marketplace, for instance, any I don't know about like Twitter or Snapchat or Instagram, or I don't know if they have like sales sites like Facebook does, uh, but I would say more than 50% of the time when I contact someone about something that I would like to purchase on Facebook Marketplace, it's a scam. Um, and and it's very easy to tell. They don't want to give you an address. They want you to pay immediately to hold the item for you. It's just, and it's so frustrating. I'll bet there is someone out there, someone super smart about all this stuff, who is out there trying to defend people. I don't know them. I haven't come across anything like that. So for me, I have to defend myself. I have to protect myself. And I would love to know that just this podcast alone helped someone else remember to be careful and cautious and suspicious. Sadly, I hate encouraging people to be suspicious of each other, but unfortunately, the ones that are calling us on the phone and reaching out to us online, um, quite often are not our friends. And uh, I mean, how many times has your Facebook or Instagram been hacked? Most of the older generation folks in my life who are on Facebook have been hacked multiple times, which infuriates me because that's just more targeting older generations who they just assume these hackers assume aren't smart enough to uh, protect themselves. And so every time I get another friend request from my own father, who has been Facebook friends with me for a decade plus, uh, then I let him know, Dad, you got hacked again, or my aunt, or, and it's just so infuriating. And if there's any hackers or scammers out there watching, um, I trust that there is a very special place in hell for people who target people who are living on fixed incomes, limited means, and you're out there trying to steal their money that they rely on to survive, to live. Uh, God forgive you because He's the only one who can, and He's the only one who should. Um, and God forgive me for such harshness. Okay, y'all. That's pretty much all I have on that. It was just really weighing on me. The frequency of these scams is intensifying, and I don't want you to be a victim. I want you to be safe, and I want you to be peaceful and still be able to enjoy, keeping up with your friends and family online and maybe finding a treasure here and there on the sales sites. I would highly recommend staying away from these discount shopping sites too. I received a scam message from someone who is a Facebook friend of mine from one of the discount shopping sites, and she was like, "No, I'm sorry, I did not send that to you. That went out to my entire friends list, and I did not authorize it." And so be careful. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So, all right. I love you, my people, and um, I hope that this helps someone. God bless.